So I'm making this video for anybody that's out there struggling with their real estate test. Now, this is a personal thing, and this is what I went through. It took me, no lie, and I'm not proud about this, but it just shows my determination. It took me 32 tries, 32 tries to pass the real estate test, and then that was 6 months ago. And I remember it vividly. I passed it literally a week before my birthday, and my mental state during that time, I mean, I felt defeated. I felt like giving up. And I mean, honestly, I felt like a dummy. So the reason why I'm on here, because if anybody who watches this video is going through what I was going through and feel like how the way I felt, I want to help them out. So let's back up a little bit. In Arizona, there are some requirements in order for you to get your real estate license. I mean, one of the requirements is obvious. You can't be a felon in anything. Another requirement is for you to go through and do 90 hours of real estate training. So you can either do that in person or online. And then 3, you have to pass the school exam. After you pass the school exam, you have to go and take the state exam. And after you pass the state exam, boom, you're on your way to getting your real estate license. You can sign under a brokerage, whichever one, pay your real estate dues and fees, and boom, you are good to go, and you off to your real estate career. Now, the problem what I was having was I could not, for the love of me, pass that pass the school exam. And most of the time, I think it's because I was in my own head. I've always had test anxiety, but because even back when I was joining the military, when I joined the Air Force, we had to take the ASVAB exam, and in the ASVAB exam, it took me a couple tries for me to pass that. I think it was like 6-7 times, and I was getting to the point where if you don't pass, I mean, you will have to wait a couple years to take it again, and I just wasn't gonna do that. So, but anyway, let's get back to the school exam for the real estate exam. So I sit through, I do my 90 hours easy. The school I went to was the Arizona School of Real Estate. They're pretty big out here. Hogan, I think, merged with them. And Hogan is just, he was a real estate broker, and sometimes he owned his own, he opened up his own school, and they ended up merging with the Arizona School of Real Estate. And I did my 90 hours, and the instructors out there was great. I had to drive literally to Scottsdale every day. It was for 2 weeks. I think the class was like 2 or 3 weeks. I forgot. And the instructors out there were just amazing, right? The first time I did it, though, I took it online. So I did both of them, So I did it online at first. And I was struggling online because I was not getting some of the real estate concepts that you had to learn. So I decided to, and this is over the course of 2 years, I decided to just drive to Scottsdale and then just sit in class, and whatever questions I had, I could just raise my hand and I could just ask the instructor. But anyway, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. Let's just go back to when I first took it online. So I took it online. It was during COVID. Went through, did the 90 hours, and then it got to the point where I had to take the test. So I took the test, and during that time, you couldn't drive in or anything because everything was closed down because of COVID out here. So we had to even take the test online with Proctor, get on Proctor, and then we'll have someone watch us the whole time. And another thing, whenever you take the school test is just like the state test in terms of time. And they give you, I believe, 3 hours to take tests. And there's 100, I believe, and 90 questions or something like that. So every single time I My first time taking the test, I believe, I mean, I already remember, it was like a 38%. And I'm like, what? 38%. And then I took it the second time, and then it was like a 39%. So then eventually I kept increasing it. I got to like my 12th time taking this exam, y'all. And on my 12th try, I think I got like a 71%. So over the course of doing all that studying and sitting in all those exams, right? And I'm telling you, every time I used all the time. So this is like every single exam I'm using 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours every exam. I kept failing, right? But my 12th try, I got a 71%. I was so exhausted at that point of taking it the 12th time that I just quit. And, you know, it was a couple things going on. I had things going on with my mom. I had things going on with me transitioning out of the military, blase, right? So I'm like, man, and when I got out the military, my first plan was to just jump straight into real estate. So, I mean, obviously, me just quitting, I didn't jump right into real estate. It took me some time and things like that, right? So after a while, you know, after I just quit, which I regretted, I was like going back to the drawing board. I'm like, well, maybe real estate isn't what I want to do. Maybe I should just do something else. I just really can't take this exam. So about a year and a half of getting out of the military, after working, I believe it was 4 jobs, but I can tell y'all about that a little later. I went to a rotation of working 4 jobs, and I'm talking about they were horrid. They was horrible. I mean, they was decent, well-paying jobs, but I just wasn't happy. You know, it was so hard to, one, fit in, because my mindset even getting out of the military was just so about discipline, order, and all this other stuff. I mean, the schedules was everywhere. It was a 9 to 5, which I have nothing against 9 to 5s at all. However, I was in the phase of just wanting to own my own business. I knew I wanted to do real estate, but I just felt like I couldn't pass this exam. But determination is a mother lover. That's all I got to tell you. So after working a year and a half on like 4 different jobs, I'm like, man, look, I can't do this. And something kept gnawing in me like, dude, just go ahead, pass this exam, get through what you got to get through, and then just figure it out, right? So after a while, it was my last job that I was at. I remember. And I was working a desk job, and it was a customer service job, and I couldn't do it anymore, man. These people, shout out to people who do customer service and who's working from home and stuff like that. But that I just couldn't do it. So I ended up literally walking into the office and then just telling my supervisor that I quit. And I remember it was last year in 2024. It was like right on MLK Day in January. It's like literally a year. Yeah, actually it was a year from almost a year from the day. So I ended up quitting that job, and I'm like, look, man, I'm like, I have to pass this exam. I have to buckle down, and I have to pass this exam. So that's when I decided to go in person. And that's why I told y'all earlier that I went into Scottsdale. I had to drive into Scottsdale all the way from the suburbs out here in Arizona. So the commute was around like an hour every single day, but it was well worth it. I go back in, relearn everything, because things change after a while. Even after a year and a half, it changed, the rules, regulations, and things like that. Commissioner, all this stuff. Go in there, and then now it's time after I do my 90 hours over, it's time for the exam. Same thing. It was slightly higher the next time I took it. I mean, the first time it was like a 59%. And it just gradually just kept going up and up until to the point where I got to my 29th try. And I got a 73%. And I was literally just as exhausted as I was before, because I'm like, why can't I pass this exam? Like, it would just eat me up. And then I was at the tail end of giving up again, but I'm like, nope, because last time you did this, you really regretted it. You need to finish this through. You told yourself that you was going to finish this exam, and no matter what, if you get as close as you got last time, you're going to just see it through. I kid you not. A couple more exams later, I passed that exam. And it just took, but just to get over that little hump, I had to go all in it. I mean, it reminded me of like running a marathon, and you were right there. You almost done with the marathon, and you just want to give up. And that's the point where you just got to kick it into another gear and keep going. And that's what I did. I buckled down. I got rid of all my distractions in my room, my cell phone, any type of distractions when it comes to that makes a sound, notifications, all that. I turned it off. I locked my phone in another room. I buckled down in my office, and I literally spent hours. And when you say hours studying, I was studying like crazy. But that little push got me over, and it took me 32 tries, but that was the push I needed to get me over the edge. And I did, and it worked out perfectly. I felt so good after I felt so good, y'all, after I passed that exam. I mean, I've been through my trials and tribulations, especially when it comes to, I told you I struggled getting into the Air Force with the ASVAB exam. However, man, this one was a whole different beast. All right, y'all. And then after that, you have to take the state exam. Struggled with that for a little bit, but that's another thing. The school exam is free, so you can take it as many times as you want. But the state exam is $75 to take the exam every single time. But I want to keep this video at a minimum. It took me 3 tries for me to pass the real estate exam for the state exam. So all I'm saying, right, I remember this quote, and if anybody out there is struggling, I want y'all to remember this, right? And I mean, it goes something along the lines of this, like, it took, I forgot his name that invented the light bulb. It took him like 1,000 tries, right, to invent the light bulb. And no matter how many tries, no matter how many tries, you only lose if you give up. So, and I'm not ashamed of it. I mean, you know, right now I'm 6 months into my real estate career, and this is even tough, right? I'm even getting through something now. So every time, and like everything in life has challenges, and you just got to keep getting over them and over them and over them. And the only time you lose is when you give up. You know, that's just literally the whole message of this video. So if you're out there struggling with anything, right, just don't give up, man. It's like, it's so many stories and inspirational stories that I could get through, but I'm not gonna hold y'all. The only thing I'm saying is don't give up. All right, it took me 32 tries. It took me 2 years to get my real estate exam. Right now we in a tough market. I know interest rates are really high, housing prices are just ridiculous, but you know, even with that, like I say, it's challenges, right? I'm here and I got in this industry to help people, number one. So yeah, just keep going, keep trying. And if y'all need any pointers at all, comment down below, and I can give you some pointers or some study tips. Even like if you like sleep, what I did for sleep, what I did for distractions, like study techniques and everything. I could give you all that, because like I said, I mean, that wasn't my first rodeo because of that, because I struggled with the ASVAB, and this one took the cake. You know what I mean? So keep going, don't give up, and keep pushing. All right, man. Thank you so much for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you need any help, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.